Okay, in this video, hopefully, I'm going to show, or hopefully I am going to be able to open her up and take a look inside, because one of the weak points on a Tali model that the Walkera do is the motor cabling sometimes isn't glued down, and so when the aircraft's moving, the wires inside can actually become disengaged from the solder. So I'm going to take a look now and see what we can reveal. Okay, now that these are removed, I'm going to just... Tali comes with several sets of Allen keys. Now for the next part, I'm not sure what you do, because I've never seen a video on how to take one of these down. So this is all going to be on the job training. Now, I'm pretty sure that the motors can stay on, and I believe that is looking like the motors, so I'm going to concentrate on these areas here. Now, if some of you have ever seen one of my more popular videos on my channel, it's called the Mossberg 715. There's a lot of unscrewing to do on that video if you want to take it apart. And that's what this is reminding me of a bit. It's all plastic with metal attachments, in this case Allen bolts. I'm just hoping this isn't as hard as that was to take down. That's the size you're looking at with the Allen bolts. Really, one of these that's about 2 or 3 inches longer here, and maybe a bit longer here, and make this job a lot easier, because as it is, when you're trying to rotate it quickly, it'll keep colliding with your fingers. So a longer one of these, same size, would be make this job a lot easier. This section here and this section here, because there's like clips inside this as well. I haven't a clue how easy this is going to be. I don't even know how easy. Yeah. When I do this, there's going to be a lot of screws falling out, by the way. That'd be important just to make sure your surface is ready for it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are we going for an 8? There's an 8. There's a 9. And the 10th one I've already removed, which is that one there. And an 11th one. Yeah, there's a 12. Number 12. If you look here, right, you can see the 2 push clips here and here. But there's another push clip down there, so that should automatically come off with some careful. By the way, there's nothing in the instructions that tells you how to do this. This is classic Walkera, you are on your own, man. Classic, you're on your own. Alright, because it looks like these smaller ones are playing their own little part as well. In fact, it's the smallest of the small. This is like the medium, shall we say. Go to this one, smallest of the small. So here we go. So there's another 12 of these to come off. For those that might be wondering what the torque settings are for these screws, I could not tell you, mate. I could not tell you what the torque settings are. That are just at the tip of the actual motor arm here. So you've got another one, there's one of these in each arm. So 3 to remove from each arm, so 18 screws in all. And if you thought the Mossberg 715 had small screws, just take a look at that. Look how small that thing is. Very easy to strip out if you're not careful. Twice about taking one of these apart in the field. Alright, that's all the screws loosened. So now I guess we just got to see if it'll wiggle itself apart. I guess I'm going to have to do the watch and fall trick. Okay. Right, Tali's starting to give up her secret slowly but surely. I'm just taking my fingers like this and just prying them apart from the actual tips and seeing how I get on. Okay. Right, I had to do it off camera because I was worried I was going to put enough pressure on and fucking break it, but basically it didn't break. What you got to do is you got to get your thumb on that actual piece. See this pillar piece here? You got to actually get your thumb on that and push it so it's actually pushing, releasing from this clip. Don't try and force this upper piece out. You might break it. What you got to do is you got to push with your thumb this pillar piece out. So basically, as long as you get that slot lined up and this like that, you'll get it. See how it's gone back in, pretty much. So just remember to force that out. Come on, don't. Like that, and it'll open. That's the key to opening the bloody thing. I suppose I could just try. To get the head piece off, you've got to get a screwdriver. Start applying the tip of the screwdriver to that piece. I can only describe as like a pillar of plastic. You just keep pushing on that, and that'll just pop open like that. And now, without any further ado, it should just lift off. Okay, now, before you can actually pull this off fully, the top sheath, the GPS and the compass are still attached to the actual controller. So luckily these aren't soldered in, these aren't soldered directly on, these are on little white plastic connectors. So I'll just try and show you that now. Well, I can't really, not the way they've got to come. So I'm just going to take my word for it. One here. Black and red go to the compass. Red, white, blue and black go to the GPS. And of the GPS connector, there's one more cable on its own, on its lonesome, that goes to your telemetry control. Feel free when you open this up to take a look around and see what else you want to have a look at. If there's any soldering that you're concerned about or anything else you may think is damaged or needs improvement. Now, earlier models of the Tali, this was the problem. This was actually loose on some, and basically when these motors were turning, these were actually a bit too loose. So I'm going to see now if these are loose. These should be glued to this so that there's no issues. But look, not glued at all. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start super gluing this down to here so that in future times, if this becomes loose inside because of the constant movements, and this might go softer and more easy to move around a lot, that's when you start having issues with this here because that's glued. And that is the top shell removed, finally. That's just getting to the job at hand, which is basically going to be gluing all these down. Now some might say it doesn't have to be done, but it's better to be safe than sorry. I have noticed here and here there is a double-sided tab. I still think it's a good idea to do the other ones as well. So what I'm going to do now is just start adding some glue to all these. Okay, and that's the glue added. Just above to the left of the motor is the glue. It's been added. Doesn't have to be anything special. You could use tape, you could use anything. I'm just using some super glue because it's quick and convenient. That's the upgrades complete. So I'll let that dry for a little bit, and then it's just a case of getting all the shell all back on, all the clips in the right place. I notice there's a lot of upgrades for the Tali here. I see a lot of aux ports that are open to being used, or what's seemingly being used. So anyway, that'll conclude the upgrades. And it's just a case of getting the shell back on.